Hey guys, we're back. We've got a brand new video. We're going to put that fairing on, so stick around. Hey guys, we're back. We got a new video. The DR650, obviously last time you saw us do the gas tank. We got our 6.6 liter Atcheries put on, and it's everything's great, worked great. Super happy with that. We're finally getting ready to do the fairing. This is something I've been waiting for a very long time, and I finally got some time in my busy life schedule to get this going. So we're going to do a quick tear down, and I'll probably just do a time lapse of that, just pulling some basic stuff off. Nothing anybody really needs to see that you can't do it yourself. It's real simple. And I've got some lights I've got to remove that are already on here, and a few little things. We'll get it all set up, get it ready to go, and then we'll be back with some information on getting started on this fairing. Okay, so we got the basics torn off here. We got the stock, cowl taken off, and I had some auxiliary lights that were on here. We got rid of those. Obviously, the reflectors, personal preference. I'm not a big fan of goofy-looking reflectors on my bikes. I ride quite defensively, so I'm not too worried about it. Anyone else, I'm not recommending that they take their reflectors off. It's just something I like to do. So let's get into opening this thing up. The fairing itself, we're going to leave till a bit later. I don't want to get it damaged. But let's open this up and see if we've got any instructions or anything like that. Grab my knife here. This should have some bits in here. I don't know if they include instructions or not. If they don't, we'll figure it out, right? I might skip through this part with a little bit of a fast forward, so you're not watching me unwrap bubble wrap for 10 minutes. They do pack it quite well. Okay. That looks like it's just something to protect it from poking through. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see the quality here. I'll give you an up close and personal. That is a very nicely made piece. All aluminum bracketry. Try and keep the weight down. Obviously, this thing does add a couple of pounds to your bike. Oh, yeah. Very cool. So what this is going to end up being, this area here, if I'm not mistaken, is where you can put your GPS, cell phone mount, whatever you want to do. This is like your dash inside the fairing. So it's also the bracket that supports everything. Put down a little towel here just to keep it from getting scratched up. I want it pretty for at least my first ride until I drop the bike. Okay, now I'm guessing this is probably going to be some smaller accessory pieces, wiring harness maybe. Whoa, ooh, that was close. And then let's see, let's get this. I've watched their install videos a couple times. So what this is the head tube. This bolts around the head tube on the bike, like so, around the steering tube area. And this is what kind of supports everything. All right. this, okay, this is the dash bracket. This is what holds your Speedo and some stuff like that up in a different location now. And then we got some miscellaneous hardware and a couple small brackets. So let's open up. Oh, I know there's some wiring harness that's supposed to be included in this as well. I've got to get my headlight box out and make sure we got all that stuff. Should be in here, I hope. Or it might be the other one. So I thought that there was some wiring harness extensions, but maybe not. Maybe it uses the factory harness. It's kind of hard to tell in the video. No, it looks like this is just a headlight. The cool thing about this fairing is it uses an OEM caliber headlight. This is actually off of KTM. They use this KTM part number, and it's a really nice quality. You can see right there, even it still says KTM. So, and we've got, I believe this is an H4, I think. Let's see it. 5Y. It doesn't say on there, but I believe it's an H4. It looks like one. And I've got an LED insert that I'm going to pop in here for even better light. But we'll put that aside for now. Okay. I'm going to consult some videos and I'll be right back with you. I want to make sure I'm doing this right so that you guys can get it right. Okay, so give me a few minutes and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I checked the install video. It is on YouTube, and I will leave a link to it in the description so you guys can get some more information if you ever do this. They wanted me to take the headlight off. There's a fair amount of other things. I got rid of some stuff that pertained directly to my bike. Additional wiring harnesses that were already on the bike that were not OEM. So now I've got to take a couple of these harnesses. Let's see. I believe it's this one. The yellow one comes out. Let's see, let's get this guy. And if your bike is older like mine is, you want to be careful with this stuff. These plastic connectors, you got to really be gentle with them because they crack and then you're screwed. So, okay, so we got that off. And I believe there was, it was that one and a blue one. Oh yeah, that's the speedometer. Okay, so we're going to take the speedometer off. And this one goes to, where does this one go? This one goes up to that. I do have to move, I'm going to have to remove the clutch and the throttle cables as well. Once I get to that stage, we'll deal with that. Let's see here. I got a zip tie there. What is all this stuff? We've got to move the speedometer out of its way because that is going to be replaced to another area. So let's pull that off with a little pair of pliers. These might work. Try. Yeah, perfect. Nice to have some little oddball stuff to get into areas when you need them. I'm going to pull the Speedo cable, which just unscrews and then pulls out, I believe. Yeah, works like if you've ever worked on any old 60s or 50s cars, a similar setup. Okay, then we've got, what do we got here? We got a bracket, it looks like, a couple of 10 mils. Let's put my harness down there. Okay. And I've said it before, speed handle is great for stuff like this once you get the hang of using it because it's just super quick. It's almost as fast as an air tool and you don't have a hose or a battery that's going to go dead on you. one's got a little bit dry. It needs some grease, but okay. So there's that. Let's put screws so we don't lose them. Make sure we're not doing anything funky here. All right, so that's disconnected. Seems like that's good. I'm gonna say I probably will see. Yeah, okay. So on your bracket here, you'll see there's 3 holes that pertain to those 3 holes. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm probably doing it upside down. Yeah, like that. So that's where that's gonna end up. Not yet, but that's where we're going with it. All right. I like to check things like that so I can kind of see where I'm going. Let's see. And that tells me I can take these bolts loose and remove this bracket because obviously we're not using it. All right. I kind of try to keep my bolts and nuts separate for different areas of the bike if I can. Just makes it that much easier to figure out where you're going with everything in the future. When you move to the next step, you know, you're not hunting for them. These guys, let's put this thing down for a second. There's some little rubber grommets in here. And my bike is a 2006, or yeah, 2006. So I gotta be kind of careful. They're a little dry. So let's see if we can get them out of here without destroying them. That would be nice. Because I'm sure they're gonna pop into the new bracket. Really gotta squeeze out of here. Okay, there we go. There's one down. Tight squeeze to get these things out of here. There's 2. There does seem to be an easy side and a hard side, even though they look similar. One side does pop out easier than the other, it seems like. So try both ways before you go forcing it. Come on. I think it has to do with the way they've been sitting their whole life. Okay. All right, cool. So chances are we don't need this bracket anymore, so I'm going to set that in our gone pile. All right, so now we've got, that leaves us with this there's a little wire loom hanger that I might want to reuse when the time comes, so we'll leave that be. Let's see, we've got a headlight. Oh, that's it. Okay. All right. Well, it's kind of hard to show you, but these little gray ones, I don't know if you can see that, but it's not it looks like it's a squeeze type connector, but you actually want to lift up on it. And if I can, in post-production, I'll try and zoom in on that so you can see it a little closer. I don't want to move it off my tripod because I'll never get the same position again. So anyway, they're actually quite simple. You just have to pull them pretty hard. All right, cool. So let's get those off. Those look like, we got here 14. Yep, that's right. A lot of little stuff with this setup. It's a pretty straightforward deal, but you've got all your, you've got all your hardware, or your how do I say it? Your dash and whatnot, where all the business happens. You got a lot of wiring here. You've got a lot of little doodads that have to get out of the way so that the fairing can fit in its place. Now these bolts that I took out for the reflectors and for this upper, to get this upper blinker out of there, always be sure you put those back at least close to the same torque that you did before. I probably should use a torque wrench. I don't. you know, many years of riding bikes, I've never had an issue with doing it this way, but I'm not saying it's the right way, but it's as long as you're careful with your torque and you remember about how it felt when you took it off, put it back about the same way, seems to be fine to me. You know, I'm kind of old school like that though. Some people like torque wrenches. Nothing wrong with that. It's probably a lot better, but it also takes a lot longer, and I have one, it's right over there. But you know, certain things I use it for, certain things I don't. I used to be an engine builder, and you don't build an engine without a torque wrench, but that's different. You're dealing with bolt stretching and stuff like that. In this case, you just want good clamping force on the fork, and it's not going anywhere. So I pick and choose what I use it for. All right, so there's that. Blinker's gone. Big ugly ones anyway. We'll replace them with some nice little tidy ones later. For now, we're not going to worry about it. All right, let's put this guy back. One thing I will say for sure, whenever you're working on your forks or suspension or anything like that, anything critical, if you loosen it, finish up and put it back right after you do it. Don't leave it there because you might forget to tighten it back up. Now that would be bad. That's about the same. All right. Double check. Yeah, that's about the same. Okay. All right. Next, I believe that goes in there as well, does it not? So we can take those out. I need a smaller Phillips. Be right back. Okay. Thing is how there's no instructions with this stuff. You gotta kind of go by the seat of your pants a little bit. Just try to use common sense. Like obviously I know I'm moving the blinker headlight little dash piece. I'm going to be moving that, so I've got to take that loose because we know we're going to be moving it. So I may not be doing it in the right sequence, but we'll figure that out here in the future. Let's see, which way does this thing come out? Out that way. Alright, let's pull this. Factory's upside down. Okay. We're gonna need to, that's the blue one that he took off. Okay. So in the video it showed him disconnecting a blue connector. And this is the one. Sure. Because it's for the little dash piece. You gotta take it out. Boom, boom. There we go. All right. That will get undoubtedly replaced back into its location. All right. Let's see. I'm almost thinking I'm going to take all these off. Let's see. Probably end up taking them all off, most likely, but for right now, we'll just leave well enough alone and only take off what we need. All right, so now this, the key switch. I don't know if the key switch is being moved or not. It might be. It's just like a rubber mounted jobber. I'm not quite sure how. Oh, okay. I see. So it's just like a rubber boot. All right. So now the little rubber thing that holds that used to hold the dash in place, what I would call the dash, I guess. The little light, this thing. The little rubber boot that holds this thing in place is just held in place by an Allen key, or an Allen bolt, I should say. And we go, we'll get that guy out of there. It looks like it's pretty straightforward. I think that just comes out and then it will just pull off of the key assembly. I believe. I don't think it's actually holding the key assembly in place. No, it's not. All right, cool. So there's that. We got that out of the way. We'll put the bolt with that piece because it's kind of an odd size bolt. Okay. All right, now, next thing is, he did say that we've got to reroute some of the cables here. Most of the cables, actually. So, let's see if we can get these in place enough to work. The right tool for the job. Close though. It's close. All right. Be right back. Gotta grab another wrench. If you haven't taken a clutch cable out before, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to line up on your adjusters. You have to get them as tight in there as you can and line up all the notches so that you can pull them out and hopefully it'll come out. I think I gotta take just a little bit of this loose. What size is that? It is bigger than a 9. It must be a 10. Doesn't look like a 10. Oh, yep, it is. Okay, so we got a 10 and an 11 maybe? Oh, must be 12. There's 12. Always bring 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 when you're working on a bike, at least a Japanese bike. That will get you 90% of the way. That's almost everything you'll need unless you're doing a full teardown. That'll do most of the stuff. Let's see here. So is that going to be enough to get? Yep. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this, but once you get enough slack, you can see I've got a lot of slack on the handle now. You get enough slack, you pull your cable out, and there's a groove on the bottom. You want to pull it out and just pop it down, and out it comes. There we go. We'll leave that hanging for right now because I've got to figure out which way it's going to weave through there. Next thing is going to be the throttle cables. Now these things always bug me. I know how they work, but I'm always nervous about taking them off because they can be a hassle to get back in if you're not really paying attention to what you took off. Couple screws on the back side of the throttle housing, and then you can rotate it a little bit to get your boot off. Okay, so push the boot back, screws the rest of the way, and then okay, that's about that. Now put these on our table, and we should be able to pop the housing open. You pull both sides off, both halves. You see those halves come off. Put them back the way they go, and then you'll look at your throttle cable. So there's one that's on this side and one that's on that side of the throttle, and the one on the back side wraps all the way around up next to the one on this side. And what that is, you've got a two-way cable system, so you can put throttle on, and if for some reason the cable wants to stick on you, you have the ability to force it closed using the other cable. That's what that's for. So it's kind of a safety feature they put on pretty much every motorcycle I've ever seen. That's street legal anyway. Regular dirt bikes, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And the cables work just like the clutch cable. You rotate it until you line up your cable with that notch, and then it just pops right out. Pretty simple. All right. So I think I've got one more thing to do here. That's right. So we'll let that hang. So the last thing on the video that I spotted that I need to do is the big nut on, we got to take these bolts loose again because I shouldn't have put them tight. We're both learning here. We're learning as we go. So we pull these guys, actually they don't have to be out, they just have to be loose. Loose them back up. Alright. Couple turns. Okay. Now we've got to get that big nut loose. And what I'm going to do is I won't be able to really show this very well probably on the video, but I'm going to loosen the nut up, or I'm going to take it off actually, and then I'm going to slide the triple tree off, and then there's the brackets that hold the headlights from the factory. We're gonna slide those brackets up off of the forks and get rid of them. Those aren't used with this setup. So, all right, we're going to get a big wrench, and then we'll be back. Okay, so we found the wrench. For those of you that don't have a big selection of stuff like this, I don't have metrics this big, but this one is it's a 1 1/4 and it does fit. It's a little snug, but it goes on. And then you're gonna take that. They're usually pretty tight. Oh, that sucker's way on there. Okay, now we're gonna knock the bike over. We're way on there. All right, let's see how we can do this. We've got to get some more leverage. Maybe down like this. Ah, there we go. Yeah. That is factory tight. All right. So, oh, I thought I had it loose enough. Not quite. She's not done yet. Okay. It definitely has to be a box end because you can't get an open end in there. Come on. Tight squeeze. All right. All right. So now I've got a couple of now I'm looking at this. I've got a couple of cables that all that stuff should lift up. All right. So we've got, how about this one? Is this one gonna lift up enough? Yeah, I think it will. You always want to check that kind of stuff before you're in a situation where you can't escape it. So, oh, how do we lose? Oh, that's a washer. I didn't see that. All right, so you go like that, and then you're gonna pop this guy, bracket number 1. I'll take him off, and then bracket number 2. Take him off, and then slide your triple tree back on. So those are the 2 headlight brackets. And since I'm not using them on this, I will be saving these because these are quite good for other bikes and stuff. Sometimes you can use these to mount headlights. Pretty cool. They're really nice brackets. So let's see. So let's put our washer that we dropped. Put that back on. And now that, where's that nut? That's a big old nut. And they have a lot of friction. Certain things like that, where you're trying to get a fair amount of preload on those bearings, I always give them that's a big thread. So these things can gall up and they can seize on you and stuff. So a little bit of grease, WD-40, anything is fine to put them on there. I wouldn't use Loctite. You probably could, but I wouldn't bother with that. But it's just good for the threads. Truth be told, it'd probably be good for these as well. In fact, I'll probably loosen these. I'll probably take these bolts out that I tightened up by hand for the triple trees, and put a little bit of grease on them, or a little bit of oil like I just sprayed on there, because it will just be that much better for the threads, and you'll get a more accurate tightening too. You'd be surprised how much friction will skew your torque. So now on this, my front wheel is touching the ground, so You want a fair amount of torque on this thing. And this does have, if you're doing a brand new bike, mine at least, still has the white Sharpie pen or whatever they use, paint pen. So you know kind of where you need to go tightness wise. About right there would probably be good. All right, you always tighten that first and then these, by the way. Always tighten the triple, or the I forget what they call that. I think it's called a stem nut, technically. Always tighten your stem nut first, and then your triple tree stuff. You don't want to over tighten these because you could break your triple tree, so you want to be, you could crack that if you over tighten it, but they're pretty tough, but still. Okay, so we got that. Now we've got to reroute our cables, which to do that, I need to study that just a teeny bit before we go through with it. Make sure I'm routing them the right way. And then we will have to remove these on both sides, this bracket here. And that's going to, I believe they completely come off. And then this bracket somehow it uses those two bolt holes, I believe, is what he did. All right, so back to you in just a minute here. All right, guys, so we've been working on a little bit of stuff here. I kind of had to really concentrate on what I was doing here to figure out what they wanted, but long story short, the primary bracket goes in where we took those other brackets off that we talked about earlier. The two main bolts on each side go there. Then there are some, what did I do with my Allen wrench? Somewhere around here, or in my pocket. Oh, there it is, okay. So you got the two main in there on each side. We've got the wires ran the way they want them to be. Your clutch cable ends up coming through the left-hand side, and we'll go over that way to your, oh no, I'm sorry, we'll go over this way to your clutch. I got mixed up. And then your throttle cable goes through essentially right next to the carburetor, right over this green, you'll see a green plug there. You'll feed those lines over on that side, and then they come through forward, and then those will go over there. And what they're basically doing by that is they're essentially making the cables a little bit longer to get them where they need to go to clear everything. Okay. I did find out that there is no extra route. There's no extra wiring harness. The existing wiring harness is all that's needed. It's just disconnected so that you can get everything sorted the way you want and then put it back together. That's pretty much all there is to that. It's pretty straightforward. Let's see. So what we're working on right now, you start these in. You can get those all snugged up. Then you bring these in with the Allen, these forward bolts. I don't know if you can see those, and you snug them down, and then plus a half a turn. And then once you get them there, you hold the Allen with the center, or you hold the center with the Allen, and then snug up your nut. And that gives you, what that's doing is it's stabilizing the front end. These are your anchor points, and these up here are your stabilizers, without having to drill any holes in the frame and stuff. That's basically what they accomplished with this. It's a pretty good idea, really, if you think about it. So let's see. I'll snug these down. We'll probably fast forward through a little bit of this stuff so I'm not wasting your time, but I do want you to see what I'm doing. So let's see. Let's get some leverage here. I'm trying to get out of the view of the camera if I can, but sometimes it's kind of hard. So I'll resist and force with this side and let them snug them up. Okay, they don't need to be crazy tight, just reasonably tight. And we'll go ahead and snug this down. Do the same thing on the top one. And the remainder on all four. The two on this side and the two on the other side. And when you're doing this, you also want to make sure that these bolts, these pinch bolts, are keeping it centered on the chassis. You don't want to have it shifted one side or the other. It kind of can't anyway, but you still want to make sure you're not influencing it one way or the other. Snug, and then we'll switch this down, switch it this way. Alright, so now we'll hold back from that. Okay, so there's that part done. So we've got the bracket to go next, all right? The main bracket. This goes like so. Pretty cool. All right, then we've got 3 bolts that go here, and I apologize for the wind noise, but it was getting a little stuffy in here, so I turned on the swamp cooler. And we've got a little bit of wind going on outside. It gets quite windy where we live now, but I'll gladly trade it for the workspace that we have now. Or that I have, I should say. So we got 3 bolts here. We got to get these started, and then we will do a few things before we snug this all up, because there's an alignment procedure, I guess, on this, just to make sure you get it squared up with the bike and looking like it's supposed to. It's also designed to move and turn a little bit like this in the event of a fall. Once it's snug down, it's tight, but it has a little give to it. So if you do lay the bike down, it's not as likely to break something. It's really a pretty good design. He put a lot of thought into this. Okay, so we got some self-tappers there. And keep in mind, we're all learning at the same time here. This is my first time doing this. So let's put this way. We can clutch there probably. Let's get over. This guy gonna go like this. Seems like it's okay. Still gonna move free. Seems to be. Alright, we'll see what we get. Okay, next thing on the list was to move some of this stuff over to the bracket. So we've got this guy goes in here, and we've got those long, there they are. Those seem too long. Those were the ones for the rubber deal, so we're not going to use that long rubber thing anymore. So I'm guessing, oh, I bet that's what these are for, because he included 2 screws, so that's got to be it. So it included 2 small self-tappers. That's the only place that I'm aware of that I've seen so far that uses 2 screws, so I'm hoping that's the right place for those. Let's see if it cracks my housing. They seem to be going in okay. So far so good. So I'll give you a little close up. That's what the little silver head screws are for. Goes in there like that. It can only go in one way. There's a bevel here that you can see. So it has to go in the bracket one way. You don't have to worry about getting it backwards. Unless of course I have it the wrong way. It's very possible. But let's see. Where is this going to go? So that's the keyhole. No. Keyhole like this. Oh, okay. I see what he did. All right. Yeah, so he tied that in underneath the triple clamp bolt. All right, that works. So we got it right. Okay, so that's there. We've got to put this like so. And I've got to remember where that bolt went for that, which I believe is one of these guys. Correctly? Right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So there's that. Let's pull the one. Oh, let's mount the. Actually, before we do that. Got to transfer these grommets. A little challenging, not too bad. Okay, so now we go this, I'm guessing. Oh, I see. He put the whole cable go through here and through there. That's the way it goes. Right. I got some more. I got some nuts to put on the back side of this. Now I'm planning on in the future doing a Trail Tech vapor for this, I think, is what I'm probably going to use. So it's not super critical that this part lasts forever, but I'm going to put it together so I can ride it as is. For now, let's see, we need different size socket. Bigger one. If I would have known I was going to be putting these on and off so many times, I wouldn't have tightened up the triple tree. So, long story short, don't tighten the triple tree down until you're all done, because there's lots of little doodads that have to take place before you can permanently tighten that down. That's kind of weird. Sure seems like that's not supposed to be quite like that. I'm going to have to move. Looks like I'm going to have to move that brake line a little bit. It's a little too down. Let's see. We're fully extended so it can give away a little bit. That's not a problem. So if I do this without loosening it too much, we could probably get away without having to bleed them again. We'll see how lucky I get. Is that going to be enough? Worst comes to worst, we bleed it again. It's not a big deal. All right, so there's that. That back in. Get one of these guys. These are one of the remaining bolts that were left over from the actual mounting of the Speedo in the factory location. That goes on with the 10 mil. So where did my 10? I got another 10 right there, right? Yeah, there's a 10. trying to force this thing to center. There's a little bit of play in the bracket. You want to center it over your keyhole as best you can. Make it look nice. All right, then we can go that. Let's see how that looks. It's not terrible. I want a little more. Down just a little bit more. That's better. Okay. That's tight. Alright. So we've got a bracket in there. Key on off, that works. We've got our brake line is pretty much out of the way. It's full extended right now, so it's not going to get any worse than it is. That's cool. All right. Next is wiring harness, I'm guessing. So we've got these little guys. Let's pull all those out. What do I do with my Phillips? The never-ending battle of finding your tools. When you put them somewhere you didn't want to put them. All right. So I think we'll break this. I'm going to get some wires routed, and then we'll come back to you when it's time to put the fairing on, okay? Well, so far so good. So we got the wires sorted. It's pretty much just kind of follow how they want to go naturally, make sure nothing gets bound up or anything, and that it'll all fit behind the headlight. And then the headlight pops in, 4 screws there. You want to make sure you loosen up the adjusters first, because it's the little cattywampus to try to get it quite perfect, you know. And then stuff is still loose now. We've got to go in, and it's about time, I think, to trial fit the fairing and just see how it sets on here. It's curious to see what we get, how it sits on here. So we will open this puppy up very carefully. I'm sure this is a lot stronger than I think it is, but I'm a little nervous handling it. I just don't want to screw it up. It took so long to get. Oh, it's got, oh wow. I didn't realize that. It goes on a quarter turn faster. There we go. Woo, look at that. That is beautiful. Very, very nice. Quarter turn faster. It's not. What is it? What is it fast? Oh, I see. Let's see. It looks like it's set onto that. Is it that easy to take on? Headlight, ooh, yeah, that is tight. Okay. So I'm going to set the headlight back first. Let's very carefully set that down. step back and take a look at that. Hey, that's pretty dang cool right there, man. I gotta say, that's pretty awesome. I will definitely be reorienting some of these wires and stuff, but I'm not happy with that. Oh, we got a scratchy. Oh well. Almost perfect. It was almost perfect. Alright, let's see. How do we do? Position. Let's see. Yeah. I don't like them when some people push them way forward like this. I like it more back like that. So let's see if we can get that to stay there. I wonder if we can. Let's see. All right. Well, I'm going to make a few adjustments here, play with it, and we'll get right back to you. I gotta try and there's a lot of little tinkering and tweaking to get this thing just right. I'll get the cables finished and get the steering, or get the speedometer hooked back up, and we should be almost done. Very close, very close. All right, well, it took some doing because the clutch cable and the throttle cables, the way they said to do it, just doesn't work, or at least it didn't on my bike. Or maybe I misunderstood the video, but what I ended up having to do is flip over. I had to flip the throttle housing upside down, because what was going on was they were binding. They were binding like crazy, so bad that when you turn the bars at all, they would bind like crazy. So I didn't know what else to do. I have no choice but to keep them the way they go. So I've got the housing upside down. I've got the throttle cables are coming up. Let me see here. Yeah, this side. They come up this side and sweep over and go to it to try and keep that arc as big as possible. It could be because I've got old throttle cables, maybe. I don't know. This thing only has 10,000 miles on it though. So I would say more than anything, it was just binding up. So anyway, I got it now. It snaps back pretty good. When it's all the way on the lock, it comes back, but it's slow. But that's the best I could get it. There's just no getting it any better. I've been doing this for like the whole day now. I messed with just the cables alone for probably 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, just trying all different things. Anyway, so they sweep around on this side, and then I had to move the clutch cable to come out on the other side, so it just basically comes up from its area, goes straight up. Pardon the off-road bikes if you can hear them. We got a lot of people out here for Thanksgiving, and then it sweeps up underneath the key housing, or the ignition housing, and then under this bracket sort of, and then behind the brake cable, or the brake hose, and then hooks up to the clutch cable, or the clutch lever. So that had to be done. I had to raise up the brake hose a little bit to clear the speedometer, because it was hitting that. I rerouted the choke behind the brake line. Mine was in front of it for some reason. Now that could be factory, it could not. It could be just somebody changed it, I don't know. But anyway, it runs behind there. That's good. But long story short, we've got power, we've got high beam, where is it? High beam, low beam. I haven't put the LED in there just yet, but I got that. I've got all the cables are working. Brake didn't end up having to be bled. I did lube all the cables just to make sure everything's good. Clutch is good. I always leave a little bit of slop there. Choke works now. It was kind of bindy before. You know, the choke was kind of grabby. I still have to drill a hole for my secondary power there, my accessory, which is going to be, one of them will be an auxiliary light bar of some sort, probably under here, and then the other one might end up being some heated grips or something of that nature. You know, maybe an air compressor dongle or something. I don't know, but or possibly a GPS power or some source or something like that. We'll see. Anyway, we're about ready to put the fascia back on, but we've got to put the tank on first. So we'll do that. We'll pop this bad boy into place. Squeeze that in there. He goes into his home, nice and solid. Get him in there. Okay. Do that. Pop these guys in. Let's get one started so we kind of know where they are. Right there. Another one here. Let's grab our wrench. Spin that down. Try and do it evenly. Now they have crush washers in there so that they don't, so you can't over tighten them. But I mean these things, I've got little Loctite on them, and I don't like to mash them completely down because you're just taking your toll on that deal, on that little rubber bushing. Okay, so now we get to see what it looks like with everything done. I adjusted the headlight pretty good, I think. All right, let's see. Pop this puppy on here. The neat thing is, I didn't know this, but this fairing is quick release. I didn't know that. It actually goes on with quarter turn fasteners. It's pretty neat. So we pop that in there like that. And we go, give it a little bit of a push and then click. A little bit of push and then click. All right. Pop those to the side. And let's see how we lined up here. We look pretty good. Pretty good. And it rides like this on purpose because it, like I said before, it's got some give in it. If you hit it, you can move it if you need to. So if it takes a hit, rather than cracking, it's supposed to turn and slip a little bit, and then you just pop it back into place. It keeps its center based on riding against the gas tank. That's how it works. That's why he's got these big rubber grommet things. But that looks pretty good, man. I'm pretty pleased with it. Let's move this table out of the way so I can get the seat. We'll pop the seat on, and we'll try to get an idea of what this thing's going to look like. We're all set and done here. I like it. I like it a lot. Oop, number plate maybe. We'll just kind of set this thing in here. We'll just set the, oop, can't really just set it, I guess. It's not going to cooperate. There's my screw. Put one in. All right. So this is by far the longest assembly video I've ever done. But let's take a look and step back and see what we get. Oh yeah, I like that. That looks pretty cool. Completely different bike. Oh, we've got one more thing we can do I forgot about. Yeah, let's do this. We can do this real quick. Well, hopefully quick. We'll see. What are these? Is it these? I think it was these, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. No more big duckbill on the front. Do we want to pop out these? Yeah, we probably do. The anti-crush things. Let's get those out of there. So we'll take these out, if I can. And this is a factory fender, so these should pop back in, hopefully. Because what we're putting in is a factory Sumo fender from a DR650 I. Come back here. All right. So let's see. Did we get them? Did they pop in? Yes. Yes, they do. All right. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as they'll stay in there good enough to get. Oh, you bugger. Fight you till the end. Sometimes I'm a little worn out. Today was a bit of a fiasco with those brake or the throttle lines. I really didn't expect it to be that difficult, and it ended up being a major challenge. But it worked out pretty good in the long run. I might have to change the way those holes are drilled, but maybe not. Let's see here. We'll come back and blue Loctite these later. This is just for the video to show you guys the finished product. If you stuck with me this long, I really appreciate it. I've got a lot of this stuff coming, this build process stuff and maintenance deals, and I got full suspension coming for this bike. We're gonna have quite a bit of stuff on this series here, so I think you guys will want to see a lot of that. And then once we get that done, we're going to be doing some trips on this bike. We're going to be checking out some long haul type stuff. I definitely want to do a Death Valley trip soon, as well as many other places. If I could find my 10mm, there we go. So and we got some camping stuff coming. So definitely, please, we really appreciate it. Sydney and I both, she's not out here right now, but she might make a little stop in to see this thing at the end. We'll see. She said she wanted to see it when it was done. So, but please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel. We finally broke 100 subscribers a couple days back, and I think we're sitting somewhere around 113. Which to me was a pretty big deal. You know, it takes time to get this stuff, to get people interested. And all right, there we go. Let's see, that's tight. I want to see this now. Let's see how it looks. Is it clear okay? Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks pretty cool, man. We get those chunky tires on there, and we'll have something cool. This is going to be a pretty fun. This is going to be a pretty fun bike. I like this bike a lot already. And I'm talking about probably doing some powder coating. I want to do the swing arm black, possibly black rims for sure. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm gonna get some cleanup here, and we'll be just about finished for today. All right, so we're almost done with this thing. I'm just kind of cleaning up a little bit, wipe the dust off, so I can take some cool pictures of it. But that was pretty successful. Oh, hey, Sid.
Looks good.
It's totally different, huh? It looks like a different bike.
The blue in the back kind of looks cool, though. Like the two colors.
Oh, doing the three-tone? Yeah, but I think we're gonna change it. We got a gray fender for the back too, so it'll look like it'll match the front one. Pretty cool, huh? Picking up tools. You always got to clean up after you're done, right? So yeah, so what do you think?
I like it.
You like it? It doesn't even look like the same bike. To me, it looks completely different. It was a little bit of a challenge. There was some hard parts. The cable routing was really tough, trying to get all the cables and stuff to fit through there and not jam up. That was kind of tough. But I got it. It just took all day.
Was this already there like that?
No, that's how it comes. It's composite. It's actually like carbon fiber kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. I don't know if it's carbon fiber, but it's composite. It's pretty cool. So anyway, guys, thanks for sticking around. We made some pretty good progress on the build today. We're getting close to having a rideable bike. Probably next installment, I'm thinking we'll do the seat and the tail section next. Maybe we'll get Sydney involved in the seat a little bit, have her help. This was a little lengthy to have a little one help with, so. But anyway, we appreciate you guys watching and sticking around. Please, like I said before, please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. And anyway, have a good one. We'll see you later next time.